behind every product that was previously thought impossible, driving every platform that handles millions of decisions, and powering every AI experience that actually works is an engineering team that not just uses technology, but applies intelligence. Welcome to the world of applied intelligence. Welcome to Zorient. Founded over 3 decades ago, Zorient is a PE-backed digital engineering company helping global enterprises reinvent themselves through AI-native platform engineering, data-driven decision-making, and what it calls applied intelligence. With headquarters in Sunnyvale, California, and 28 offices worldwide, Xoriant serves over 100 customers, including Fortune 500 companies, fast-scaling startups, and several of the world's leading companies across retail, BFSI, healthcare, and high-tech through its smart-sized team of 5,000 XFactors. Powered by its strategic focus on building software-defined businesses and delivered through its innovative house model, Xoriant enables AI transformation that is measurable, scalable, and future-ready. And awarded for leadership in artificial intelligence as well as employee wellness and happiness, Xoriant is not just building AI-native platforms, it is applying intelligence to engineer the future of business. We're now being joined by Rohit Kedia. He's CEO at Xoriant. Thank you so much for speaking with us and giving us both the big picture as well as what's really happening in the world of AI and applied intelligence. What's happening in the world of AI? Are we in the middle of a storm? Are we riding a wave? How would you call it?
Honestly, I think it's a bit of both. Both a storm and a wave. There's a lot of chatter about it being a storm and how AI can potentially impact jobs. But there's also a wave building up because trillions have been spent in artificial intelligence, and all of that spend now has to generate returns, which means for businesses and enterprises to drive adoption, they have to apply AI in their business processes to create the right kind of value. So when I talk to leaders, I often ask them, are you trying to escape the storm or are you trying to ride the wave? And I get various kind of answers. At Xoriant, we have made a very deliberate choice. We think the opportunity is greater than the risk. So we're absolutely wanting to ride the wave, and the opportunity that we see in front of us is when businesses have to create value from AI, they have to rebuild their data foundations, they have to reskill their workforce, they have to restack their technology, and that's the opportunity for us as Xoriant. In other words, help our customers bridge the gap between AI innovation and AI application. But it's only when AI application occurs, businesses create value. So that's what we are focused on. Now it turns out that in order for businesses to apply AI, very human skills are required. You need empathy to discover problems worth solving. You need creativity to reimagine what processes can look like or what even entire businesses can look like. You need expertise to then apply technology to those business processes. So it turns out that for AI to create value for businesses, you need the most important human skills.
And you were just using the word application, so I want to pick that up and talk about the fact that you call it applied intelligence. The world is talking about artificial intelligence. What does it mean for you as a company, one, and more importantly for your customers when you're talking about applied intelligence?
If you look at the data, 90% of the initiatives where companies are trying to use AI, they are not producing the required business value. They're just using AI in point solutions that look shiny at first, but ultimately fail to deliver the right kind of business value. So at Zorient, combining human ingenuity with AI is what ultimately translates into applied intelligence, which is what we then bring to our customers to help them create the value. It comes down to really 3 things. For our customers to get value, they have to completely rebuild their tech stack so that AI is not just bolted on, but it is really embedded at the core. Second, they have to extract intelligence out of the data and information assets that they own, because if everybody is using AI, your competitive advantage rests in the data assets that you own as long as you can extract intelligence out of it. So companies have to rebuild their data foundations to be able to get that unique intelligence that they possess that drives competitive advantage for them. How do they reinvent their business model so that AI can then drive real value, not just cost savings, not just productivity gains, but real competitive advantage? Now, this is a complex ecosystem of expertise, and we've been very conscious that it's not just a single capability, it's not just AI that will drive this kind of a transformation. We have to work with partners. So we work with a lot of hyperscalers, other AI native companies. So we build an ecosystem of partners. And then we've been very deliberate about acquiring capabilities through our M&A strategy. So for example, we made an acquisition of Dow-Centric that gives us the domain expertise, because unless you know the domain, the business process domain well, you can't really reimagine it. We then acquired a company called Maple Labs, which gives us the platformization capability. And then very recently we acquired TestDev Lab, which allows us to quality assure AI solutions. Remember, AI is probabilistic, which means that if it has to work well, then you really need very different kind of quality assurance to scale AI solutions in the enterprise.
Great points, Rohit. And my next question is really trying to understand, if AI is all about applying the intelligence, what does AI native engineering then really look like?
AI native engineering for us at Zorient is not just using AI as a tool, but really thinking of ways of working, completely reimagining the engineering workflows as to how you go about doing software engineering. So we have thought about AI native engineering in 4 maturity models, and then every project that begins in Xoriant first baselines as to what's the current level of maturity, and then develops a very tailored plan to continuously raise that maturity, so that you bring tools, software engineering processes, people together into an integrated framework to drive end-to-end engineering.
Once we are clear what the outcome should look like, the rest comes very easier to think of. For example, what the platform should do, what data we need to put in, where the AI should fit, and what human work we need to do. At Zorient, we have ideathons, we have company-wide AI challenges, which help us to think more deeply on the customer problems and how we are going to tackle it using different type of AI.
We are all witnesses to see that code is being written much faster, new products are released in a pace like never seen before, as well as incremental features are added in speeds that we have not witnessed a couple of years ago. And of course, it brings new challenges to software quality assurance. Customers expect much faster testing times, as well as new innovative ways how to test AI-enabled features. Luckily, we have an answer to that. Together with Zorient engineering capabilities, we are building solutions that can test products much faster by leveraging AI with new quality, as well as we are building solutions that can test very complex scenarios like video quality, audio quality, or AI-generated meeting transcriptions, and so on.
You started this conversation by talking about the human element, Rohit. I just want to come back to that, but talk about your employees. You're a 5,000 plus strong organization. How do you ensure that all of them are really being aligned with the values that you have and the vision that you have for the company?
For AI to create value, it has to be applied. And for it to be applied, you need a combination of human ingenuity and artificial intelligence. So transforming our own workforce to impart those most important human skills is what it ultimately comes down to, that we can all be Da Vinci's. The reason we are not Da Vinci's is because we lack the paintbrush skills. I think what AI does is gives us all that paintbrush, but now it asks for us, can we reimagine something, or can we imagine something that we can then render as a painting? So we have our internal learning and development is now called the Da Vinci Academy. And the Da Vinci Academy is about imparting those human skills. So we are undertaking a massive transformation of our workforce, where every XFactor now is going through the Da Vinci Academy to become AI fluent, to start to possess the domain expertise in their areas of choosing, and to continuously hone this human skill of empathy, creativity, and judgment, because that becomes super important in such a transformation.
I'm also trying to understand, for a company that's as vast as you, as big as you are, how to ensure that you're organizing all of these different people, the capabilities, etc., to bring it together and make it seamless.
We've made a very conscious, very deliberate choice to be a smart-sized company, to be not too big. Big enough to have the breadth of all the capabilities required, but at that same time small enough to be able to move fast. So we have now XFactors in Zorient that come from various different origins. We have, of course, people here in India, but then we have a team in Latvia. We have other teams in Europe and United States. And all of these teams have to work together to create value for our customers. So it ultimately comes down to 3 organizing principles. We have grouped all the expertise in units that we call houses. Houses are where XFactors related to that area work together as tribes, where they continuously innovate and develop a pride and a way of working together. Secondly, it comes down to common methods and common ways of working. So across all of these houses and capabilities, we come up with methods and processes that tie them together. And then finally, it comes down to people and everybody having those human skills that we were earlier referring about. When we do all of this, that's when every Xoriant employee becomes an XFactor. That's where they can work together to create value for our customers.
Wonderful insights, Rohit. I'm going to take a quick pause though at this point because we have a few conversations with some strategic pillars at Xoriant coming up. Please don't go anywhere. Our journey and our story here at Xoriant is just getting more exciting, more conversations coming up right after this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on India's finest workplaces. Strategy is only as strong as the people behind it. To talk to us now about strategy, the delivery model, as well as what they call the house model, I'm being joined by Shivraj Sable. He's the CEO of the company. Shivraj, thank you so much for your time. Rohit gave us the overview when it came to this very unique model that you have that you call the house model. Can you break that down for our viewers?
Houses come fundamentally from the feeling of belonging. Every engineer today has to have a sense of belonging to a certain tribe. Now, if you look at how the whole industry is moving for us, there is a tectonic shift in the way engineering is moving. We are looking at people who no longer have to have a unique skill. What we really need to look at is 3 different aspects of engineers. We are looking at people who need to not only be experts at the full stack, which means the front ending of any application, the middleware and the back end. On the other hand, they also need to be AI native, which means any and all code generation, any and all software development itself has to happen through LLMs. And then there's the third aspect, which is the whole domain expertise, which means the ability to understand a product, the ability to understand a customer's domain is all absolutely critical. Now, imagine having a company of 5,000 people and the ability to transform each one of them in this new way of engineering, learning and their development team unilaterally or just centrally. So what happens is now the houses who own people, who actually have this tribe culture, are able to truly drive this inside out transformation for people. And that is where the real value of houses come in. Houses help us to completely rescale and imagine how our workforce is going to be. Houses bring in the ability to not only have our people ready for the future, but also have the ability to bring in, like you said, the domain expertise to be able to apply that with AI native engineering and eventually be a full stack development engineer.
You're talking about AI native, and I just want to expand on that. How your delivery model ensures that you're having these AI natives and what really sets that delivery model that you have apart?
The whole engineering construct, the fabric of how we look at projects itself is changing drastically. How we do software engineering, how the whole software development lifecycle happens in the future is completely different. Today, we are not looking at projects which will last 6 or 12 months. We are looking at projects which will be iteratively done within a matter of few weeks or even few days. We have applications which are being built in few days. With this happening, what is important is to reimagine completely how this whole application is going to be governed, how project management will happen in the future. For this, it is important to understand what are the concepts of engineering that are going to change. So we have come up with innovative ideas in terms of being able to mature this AI SDLC in terms of different dojos. We have our ability to understand how and when we can mature every single project that we are going through. So we have all the plethora of projects which are either governed by us, governed by clients, and then in each of them we have a certain way of approaching this to completely transform their operating model. We have a very aggressive target to make sure that each one of them is transformed in this new way of engineering with this whole maturity model. So with the help of this maturity model, we expect that within the next 6 to 12 months, most of the work that we do is going to be in the new way of engineering.
Thank you, Shivraj, so much for speaking with us.
So they say that you go fast alone but far together, and that is why alliances are at the heart of how we bring our AI native solutions to market. So whether it's Microsoft, Salesforce, or Databricks, these aren't just technology partners for us, they are our go-to-market partnerships. Take Microsoft, for instance. We worked with them at a leading eye care provider in the United States to develop AI models to predict whether or not a patient would show up to their appointment, as well as store performance and sales analytics. And Microsoft brought real skin in the game, whether it was technical depth, commercial investment, or executive sponsorship to get us across the finish line faster. And here's the exciting part. As soon as the customer saw the value of those business outcomes from their AI investment, others wanted in. So these partnerships give us access to the infrastructure, co-innovation, and trust to go from pilot to production at scale, while sharing accountability for our customers and outcomes. And that's the true power of these alliances.
At Xoriant, the three critical anchors that we look at are culture, well-being and wellness of our employees, and 3 is happiness. There's enough discussions on AI, and I'm sure each organization are going beyond their limits to do what is in the best interest of the employees. But for us, these are the 3 that stand like a tripod on which we stand, elevate, and go for it. So when we talk about culture, it's just not about there's enough buzz about AI happening around in the industry, but what's more important is are you AI certified person or are you AI fluent? But it's about applied intelligence. How do we really gear up our XFactors to looking at what they have learned, how does it get applied? And for that, culture of continuous learning. And learning is just not classroom driven, where you just go in and put a tick in the box. But it is something that has to happen as a momentum that is continuous and that takes on with speed. Second part is the well-being part for our employees. Looking forward to coming to work, them feeling that they are in a safe space to explore, looking at our true intent towards the way we want to make our XFactors feel. That's the most critical part of it. And last but not the least is happiness. For me, what matters is, do I really feel good about what I'm doing? Happy to look forward towards my work. That's something I want each XFactor to feel. And as I told you, it's people don't just perform, they grow. And while they grow, it's extremely important that they're harnessed well, and happiness is crucial for it.
If you look at Zorient's brand overall, it is all green. If you look around yourself, you will see a lot of green here. And we believe that we are away from the sea of sameness. If you look at most tech firms, they're all blue. And that's where we are different. We believe we are a company that builds products, digital technology that changes the world. One thing that very strongly powers us is our belief that we are a creator and a challenger with a human heart. Now, the rendition of this philosophy actually shows across as 2 key stakeholders. One of them is our employee sets. House of XFactors is a safe space which is away from all the storm in the world. It allows you to connect, it allows you to innovate, it allows you to imagine. It's a space for learning tech skills. It's a space for being creative. And if you look at how it comes to life in the House of XFactors, it's largely through all our communication. It is largely through all the platforms that use the communication, and it talks about a lot of pride we take in the work we do. The second piece is how we go to market with it. It's around the whole applied intelligence philosophy. There's a very strong reason why we don't go out and say we are an AI first company. We are still a human first company. We believe that AI augments human skills and that can't be replaced.
We are back with Rohit Kedia. He's CEO of Zorient. Rohit, we've been talking about all the work that you as a company are doing, but I want to take a quick minute as we're ending today's conversation to look ahead and talk about the kind of legacy that you perhaps are working towards here at the company, or maybe let's say the next 5 years.
We don't want to be known as a company that just survived the AI storm. We want to be known as the company that thrived in this era, maybe in other ways rode the wave and not just escape the storm. AI, once in a millennia innovation. Maybe people will say it is as important to the world as maybe fire and wheel were at some point of time. But now it comes down to all of us to take this extraordinary potential and translate it into value for our customers. So we want to be known as the company that not just understood AI, but applied AI by combining it with human ingenuity to create value for our customers. AI ultimately asks more of people. Question now is, what do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? So I think it's an opportunity for us to give this new purpose and this new ambition to every X Factor, ask them to do more and be more, and give them a new purpose, a new path. So if you connect all these dots, it's about translating AI potential to value for our customers, giving new purpose and new ambition, of course, in the process creating a template for technology services industry that can now create value for our investors and ultimately leave a mark on the community.
Rohit, thank you so much for talking to us about applied intelligence, not just artificial intelligence, and what really sets Zorient apart.
Thank you, Sananda.
So there you had it. That was a conversation with Zorient. We'll have more such organizations coming up on India's finest workplaces. Thank you so much for watching.